Hello, my name is Dr. Yaya Sissoko. Today we're going to talk about Chapter 2, Thinking Like an Economist. The Economist as a Scientist. Economy is a science like a social science. Example, social science is sociology or history or natural science. One example of natural science is mathematics or physics. Economics are considered like scientists. So, for instance, mm, in this photo, the gentleman is explaining to the boy, I'm a social scientist, Michael. That means I can't explain electricity or anything like that. But if you ever want to know about people, I'm your man. So scientists devise theories, they collect data about unemployment, inflation, gross domestic product, healthcare, and analyze these data. The role of assumption is very important in developing theories. Assumption can simplify the complex world, make it easier to understand. For instance, to draw US map, you need to make assumption about the name of the state and their capital city. You need to make assumption about including small town and big town. You need to make assumption about including highways and rivers. The scientific thinking is to deciding to which assumption to make. For instance, to study short-run or long-run effect of unemployment or inflation, you need to make different assumptions. Short-run period is a period less than 1 or 2 years. Long-run period are period over 1 or 2 years. Firm and household interact in a market for goods and services. Firms are sellers in the market for goods and services. They sell car, education, or food to households who are the buyer. On the other hand, in the market for factory production, firms are buyer, firms hire workers who, who provide the services to firm as seller. Figure 1 show the circular flow in the market for goods and services. Firms are seller and household are buyer. So firm produces the goods and services and sell them to household, and in counterpart, firm will receive revenue for selling these goods and services to household. On the other hand, household buy and consume the good and service by the good and services produced by firm by spending their money, their income. In the factor of for in the market for factor of production, household are seller and firm are buyer. Household will household are going to sell labor, land, and capital to business firm who's going to hire them. In counterpart, household will receive income. So on the other hand, firm will hire and use the factor of production provided by household. So, and household will earn wages, rent, and profit. So to summarize, the outer set of arrow show the flow of dollars. The inner set of arrow show the corresponding flow of input and output. Let's now move to the production possibility frontier, or PPF. What is a PPF? The PPF is a graph showing all the combination of output that the economy can possibly produce given the available factor of production and the production technology. So at the beginning of this video, we talk about economy model. So PPF can be considered as an economy model. And then we talk about assumption. If you want to build a model, then you have to make assumption. So the assumption here would be the underlying, so quantity of factor of production, and then the underlying technology. If you change this assumption, if the economy discover new factor of production, so output, the quantity of output produced will increase. If we have a better technology, the quantity of output produced by the economy will increase. So the model, which is here the PPF, will depend on so the assumption made about that model. Figure number 2 show an example of the PPF production possibility frontier. Here in this example, the society is producing two good computer and car given the available technology and the available resources. So the economy can produce it any combination on or inside the PPF. So point outside the PPF are not feasible given the available resources. For instance, point like C are impossible because the PPF does not get to C. The resources doesn't allow to produce at C. On the other hand, point like inside the PPF like D are feasible, but they are not efficient. They are not efficient because the country can just move on the PPF in order to produce more computer or more car in that sense. So inefficiency in producing at point like D will happen whenever the economy is in a recession and will experience unemployment. Point like F producing on the PPF like F, A, and A, B, and A are efficient production because the resources will be used at a maximum capacity. The slope of the PPF, production possibility frontier, measure the opportunity cost of a car in terms of computer. So how do you measure the slope of a curve? So here on the y-axis, we have the computer. On the x-axis, we have the production of car. So let's say, for instance, we want to measure the slope between A and B, the slope between A and B. So the definition of the slope is always going to be rise divided by run. Rise is measured on the y-axis, and run is measured on the x-axis. So is the slope then will be the change on the y divided by the change on the x. So change on the y will be 2000 minus 2200, which is going to be negative 100, negative 200, excuse me, negative 200 divided by the change in the x, which is x2 minus x1, 700 minus 600, that's going to be 100. So negative 200 divided by 100, this is equal to negative 2. What is the meaning of this? Negative 2 divided by 1, 2 divided by 1, that's negative 2. So to produce one more car, the society had to give up 2 computers. So the ratio is 2 to car from A to B, which is the slope of the PPF. So by producing more car, the opportunity cost of 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 how much you give out in terms of computer would increase. So you have increasing opportunity cost. If the society want to produce more car, we must give out the production of more computer. And because of the PPF is downward sloping, you can see PPF is downward sloping, so it, so the slope of the PPF will always be negative. It's, remember, we said that point like C on the PPF were outside the PPF and therefore were impossible or not feasible. However, if there is a technological advance, if there is a new and better technology, there will be a shift, upward shift of the PPF, the production possibility. And then shifting the PPF is known as economic growth, and the country will be able to produce it, more of both goods. Figure number 3 show a shift in the production possibility frontier. A technological advances in the computer industry enable the economy to produce more computer at any given number of cars. As a result, the PPA will shift outward. So if the economy moves from point A to point G, then the production of both car and computer would increase. You can see that at point A, the economy was producing 600 car and 2200 computer. At point G, the economy is now producing 650 cars and 23 hundred of computer. You can see that the technological advance or the new technology, the new and better technology shift the y-axis, up from here from 3,000 to 4,000. The economist, as a scientist, also compared microeconomics to macroeconomics. What is microeconomics? Microeconomics is a study how household and firm make decisions and how they interact in the market. For instance, a study of how business firms maximize their profit is a microeconomic study. Another study of how households maximize their utility by spending their income is a microeconomic study. Another example is how college tuition increasing over time is impacting student attendance to college is a microeconomic study. On the other hand, macroeconomics is a study of economy-wide phenomena, including inflation, unemployment, and economic growth. For instance, during the current recession, the U.S. Central Bank or Federal Reserve reduces the interest rate by injecting more money in the economy. This will reduce unemployment.